Welcome to our CS554 project. The title of our project is the evaluation of methods to index vast amounts of data in large storage systems. My name is David O'Connor and I am working with Pak Hui on this project. In this project, we are going to evaluate methods to index vast amounts of data in large storage systems. The motivation for this is that the state-of-the-art index and query technologies are critical for large data sets we have today. In this project, we would like to explore the interaction between various indexing methods and file systems on text-based files. Some of the expectations going into this project are the indexing time will increase when the number of files being indexed increases. Second, the query time will increase when the number of files in the index increases. And a third is a parallel distributed file system such as Lustre will index faster than a single node file system such as NFS. Our project will use the following file system test beds as part of our evaluation.
This is Pak Hui. I'm going to continue the presentation, start with the information retrieval libraries. There are several existing information retrieval libraries, such as the Lucene, C-Lucene, Sapien, Llama, etc., Cyprian available. So our team investigated this technique and found out that the most common field, Lucene, of course, is the full text search library in a Java-based, and Sapien is like Lucene, but it is a C and C++ based. So the integrated with the C++ application will be easier. And we also tried the Llama, which is a tools kit designed to facilitate the research in language model information retrieval, and it's very, very flexible to use for any application. So once we have this indexing and the retrieval in place, we are using the following measurement. The main key thing is the indexing time, which is the size of the index per second. In unit, it will be the byte per second. And the query time, which defines the query per second. So we got some surprising result we just found out in the later slide. To use the tools library, we are using the existing tools like the Solar, which using the Lucene library, the Java-based, and Recall is an Experience library, is a C++ based, and Integrate is a Llama, using the Llama library, is a C++ based. It's a command line based tools. So once we have these tools set up for evaluation, we are going to run the Linux grep as a comparison of this data retrieval, and hopefully later on we have stabilized our Hadoop setup. We're going to use a Hadoop grep as a comparison also. And data preparation is a big part of what we do. So one of the goals is to have a standardized data set. So we will have a various text file size text file. For example, 1 gigabyte text file, a big one, and 1 megabyte, 10 kilobytes, and 1 kilobyte text files. So how do we generate this file? So we first start with the one big 1 gigabyte text file. After that, we're using the split command, run some script to break it down into 1 meg, 10K, 1K file size. For example, we have one big 1 gigabyte file, text file, and then 1,000 1 megabyte text file, and then 100,000 10K byte file, and then 1 million 1 kilobyte file. So the content will be the same, so it won't be any delta there, and that will be our data set. And all this data, when you generate it, will be put into the different file systems, such as a local node, NFS, and Lustre NFS. And the word retrieval, we will find some word common and uncommon keyword, like the word God will appear everywhere. Superman will not be that often. And the following test or evaluation we do, we will at least run it 5 times and take the average out to see if we can get a consistent result. And the content of the data we obtain is from the two way to do it. One is from the we got it from Project Gutenberg, which got a free ebook. They are not a dictionary. That means the text is more evenly distributed. And we're going to run the dictionary like text file. That means that a file has every single word inside the file. And the following data set we're going to show it comes from the Project Gutenberg, also on the test bed we described earlier. What you're looking at is the test result from Llama. You can see that the left-hand side we have 1K file size, 1 million file, 3 times because we have 3 different file systems. Local node, NFS Lustre. The same test repeated on the 10 kilobyte file size with 1,000 file, and 1 million 1 megabyte 1,000 file on the 3 different file systems. You can see the indexing when you go to the 1 meg file, pretty fast. It's like a few minutes. When you go to a 10K file size, the indexing time increase a lot. except the local node. But it goes to the 1 kilobyte file size, the 1 million file, the index. You can see that the worst case in the raster file system takes 7 hours to index all these files. And the column next to it, index throughput, is the how much time we just divided by by 1 megabyte files. So the result is a byte per second. So the worst case is 38 kilobyte per second. The fastest we have 6.7 megabyte per second. And the thing we found out is that the retrieval time is always less than a second. I think we learned from our experience is that maybe 1 gig total file size probably not going to be good enough to see a difference in the retrieval time. The indexing um, by the worst case scenario in drill using raster file system did not get slowed down versus time. So this is what we're hoping for. We're worried about that. Maybe going fast at the beginning and slow down, and turns out that's not the case. And the next one is the other indexing tools. Explain. Same task will run with a 1 kilobyte file size, and then 10 kilobyte file size, 1 megabyte file size, different file number of files and different file systems. And then similar result we found that is that it's not as fast, but for the 1 megabyte file size is consistent or between 3 different file systems. And then we can see the difference when we're running into the 1 kilobyte file size, 1 million file. Raster, again, it takes hours to even index the 1 million file. And then we run the Lucene similar testing, and then 1 kilo, 10 kilo, 1 megabyte files, and then similar result we are seeing. And this is a comprehensive look between the three indexing tools and different file system versus different file size. So the left-hand side is the 1000 kmin 1 megabyte files, and all across they are like very consistent. They're the fastest ones. So that means that it's really the number of file causing the slowdown of the indexing, not the file size. And you can see that the performance of 1K is worse across the board. We are doing other couple interesting experiment. For example, the graph. We see that, hey, how can I does it affected by the number of file also? Raster system, the graph is also really slow, and again is slowing down once I have more file. We also did the experiment in running like a 10 instance of the same indexing system because we want to stress the system to see where the bottleneck of the system. You can see that between raster and NFS, raster take a few times more to index the same amount of file compared to NFS, even if the 10K file size. So in a preliminary observation, we have that number one, the retrieval of our data set is not good enough to tell the difference for each retrieval. So we probably need a bigger file to index. So in general, in our case, not NFS is faster than raster, which could be the CPU and memory limitation. We're going to do further study on that. And when using raster with Solar, the Lucene, there's a lot of variation with the indexing. Sometimes take a few hours, sometimes take a whole day. Again, we need to look into that. And none of these tools we mentioned about can do the 1 gigabyte file system. So it always crashes when we run the tools. So that's why we don't see the result earlier. And problem we face when we do indexing is originally we plan to include the C Lucene. It turns out that the tools we can download is not too unstable. It couldn't do a big file, it couldn't do a larger number of files. And also the grep command by itself was not able to take a millions of a file, so we had to combine the find command to do that. And in the remaining work, we're going to do is stabilize the Hadoop file system when used different data set, like a dictionary type of library, and set up impairment to limit the internode bandwidth to simulate the WAN environment. It may help to show the performance difference between the NFS and raster file system. And that's conclude our presentation. Thank you for watching it.